I did a video a couple of weeks back exposing the massive gap between employment numbers officially and the underlying number, and with the implication that the government was massively exaggerating the amount of jobs created. And we now have the official confirmation of exactly that from the Fed. So what does it mean? Well, what it likely means is that there aren't as many jobs out there as we thought, about 1 million or 2 million less, quite frankly. And that has enormous implications for what the Fed is going to do and what the Fed should have done this summer. So is this a scandal? Yes, I think it's a scandal. You might say it's an enormous lie, cock up, whatever you want to call it, or you might call it a seasonal adjustment of numbers or some nonsense that the government's going to come out with. Okay, you might remember a video if you watched this. It wasn't the most popular thing I did, but basically, the official government figures showed us this green line here that we were creating these massive amounts of jobs all year, right? And then there is the household survey, which was showing us, no, we didn't. We were actually exaggerating job numbers created by about 1.5 million. Now, this lie since the summer has gotten a lot worse, and the difference is now a whopping 2.7 million imaginary jobs that, you know, an NFT or something like that could explain perhaps, but just didn't really make any sense. The lie got worse and worse. Sorry, the numeral readjustment, statistical differences. And here it is in black and white. I'll put the link down below. The Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia put out an early benchmark revision of state payroll employment numbers. What does that mean? It means we cocked up the numbers or cooked the numbers, depending on what your perspective is. And here is the actual report. And it's unbelievable what this number is. It really is. It's absolutely scandalous. I just don't really know what to say. In aggregate, 10,500 net jobs, new jobs were added during the period, rather than the 1.1 million jobs estimated previously. I'm sorry, what? You got the jobs numbers wrong by 1.1 million? So basically, we didn't create any jobs over the summer at all. No, we didn't. Here it is in bigger. 10,500 what we got created, and we were told there was 1.1 million. Now, think about what the Fed did over the summer, those 75 basis point rate hikes. Do you think they would have done that if they had been told, hang on, the labor market is actually tanking? So the US Labor Department, Biden's lot at present, they reported in April, 368,000 jobs created. In May, 386,000 jobs created. In June, 293,000 jobs created. And the Fed was tearing their hair out. I think about how many gray hairs Jay Powell has gained. Poor man. I know, we feel very sorry for him. And how many were actually created? 18,000, 36,000. And in June, whoops, we lost 57,000 jobs instead of the 293,000 that we were told were created. Statistical difference? Seriously? I mean, that's the explanation? Yeah, we just used data that was a little outdated and we kind of counted it up when we do it. The labor market department basically does a bit of a rush job. So, but you know what? It probably helped re-elect the incoming lot, right? The incumbent lot in Congress and House. So, yeah. Baffling, right? Now, what would the Fed have done this summer? Do you think they would have hiked rates as much as they would have done? I don't think so. Now, the real question is if this is actually going to become headline news. I'll post you the link to the reports. If you don't believe me, you can see it. It's there, black and white from the Fed. Possible that as Republicans take control of the House, they are going to want to pin the blame on Democrats for the failing labor market, and therefore they'll dig up these numbers and they say, hang on, this happened 6 months ago or 12 months ago. It's definitely your fault. It was nothing to do with us. I think that's possible. In a way, that's actually a good thing here. But is the Fed going to keep hiking rates like this? Are they still going to be pointing at these strong labor market data? If, in fact, we might be, looking at about at least 1 million imaginary jobs, possibly 2.5 million, 2.7 million imaginary jobs that didn't really exist. So why do these exist? Because they're double counting. They're double counting part-time jobs. They're everybody who's freelance and so on. And people don't normally work multiple part-time jobs because they're particularly well off. They do it because they have to make ends meet. So that isn't really creating employment, is it? That's just somebody who couldn't find a real full-time job and therefore takes up multiple part-time jobs. That's usually the explanation. So what do you make of this? I'd love to hear it. I'd love to know what you think. Do you think this is just innocent statistics, or is this something a little bit more sinister? Well, you know what I make of it. Now, what isn't quite so sinister is our year, and I just did a bit of a review on it. We're up 144% on the year. If December, we've done very little so far and probably will do very little trading. It just isn't the greatest time to trade with very, very low market liquidity. Of course, that isn't financial advice. None of this is. You'll always know that, but it's just my point of view, my perspective on that as a sort of, part-time trader, former banker, and all that sort of stuff. But that doesn't make me qualified to give you financial advice. So you can come and join the gang if you want to find out some data that actually is the way it's meant to be. We trade on data. We trade on statistics, not the kind of labor market statistics, but on data that is actually up to date, to the second, to the minute. Come and join us. We have a 5-figure portfolio at felixfriends.org/coaching. Or if you're just getting started, go to felixfriends.org/options. Join our course, which gives you access to my full trading strategy and everything else, live trading and so on. And there is a guarantee, which is essentially get access to everything, go through everything, practice everything, put it into place within 90 days. And at the end of that, you said, hey, Felix, this wasn't for me. Then we refund you. Very, very simple. So there we go. Is this going to change the way the market moves? Possibly. Possibly. This could be an enormous story for 2023. And then when the Fed comes back from its long holiday in Aspen and Bahamas and some baths, and they come back nice and tanned and massaged and lots of daiquiris and that kind of thing, having been consumed, they'll be like, so we produced and printed the biggest stimulus ever in the history of man, told everybody there wasn't any inflation as a consequence. We then realized there was inflation. We then increased interest rates faster than anyone has ever done on the basis of false data. And we're probably now causing a massive recession calamity. What do we do? Have a sherry. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in.